Welcome from the tundra. Welcome to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. I'm back. Yes, I'm back. And I am very excited to be back and to be joined by two of my faves. We've got Matthew Marsden, Blaze TV contributor and actor and producer extraordinaire. Am I joking about how cold it is?
I'm wearing a jacket.
I can't, I want to stop crossing my arms, but
Don't.
I can't, because then I feel like I will be shivering I already kind of am shivering like a wet chihuahua. So we're doing the show like this, along with the Lectern Guy. We've got him back. Adam Johnson, of course, is his name, but you might as well just rename yourself the Lectern Guy.
I should at this point,
Lectern leader.
I still get called Podium Guy, which is dead naming me.
Wow.
So that needs to stop. It does. I've requested online for it to stop, and we're working on it. Got a petition going.
I'm told that's bullying and harassment.
This is, the new 2S did come out. 2S came out, and I'm trying to get on top of it. Elon, hear me. It's time.
And Adam's putting us to shame because Adam's like, I don't know. I think it feels pretty good.
He's in shorts. He's got Speedos on there. I was like, you can tell you from...
Wait, how do you know?
I don't know. No, but I was like, look at you. And he's like, I love the cold. Because he lives in Florida.
Which I don't understand, because I'm the opposite, because I'm like, I hate the cold because I live in Texas and I'm not used to it. I don't.
My theory is if you're cold, you can always put on more clothes. If you're hot, you can only take off so many before it's a felony.
True. That is
so.
Well, it depends, because if you call it a drag show for kids, you can take off a lot of layers.
Or in Key West.
Yeah.
So
There
are stipulations.
Yeah. So today, finally, Kash Patel has been confirmed as the FBI director. The vote was 51-49. And as you would suspect, all of the Democrats voted against him. And then Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski both voted against him as well. But Mitch McConnell did vote for him, which we've got more news about Mitch McConnell as we get into the show later. But I want to play Kash Patel during his Judiciary Committee hearing. This was of course, he had to pass there before he went out to the full Senate vote. And I want to play a little bit of his opening statement, Kash Patel talking about his agenda for the FBI watch.
If confirmed as the next FBI director, I will remain focused on the FBI's core mission. That is to investigate fully wherever there is a constitutional and factual basis to do so, and to never make a prosecutorial decision that is solely the providence of the Department of Justice and the Attorney General. But what I learned there was the core value that has been enshrined in me since, that due process must be provided without bias to all Americans. And if we cannot provide due process to the worst, then there can be no due process for anyone. And our constitutional republic fails. The erosion of trust, as Chairman Grassley pointed out, is all too low today. 40% of Americans have trust in the FBI. In order to get it back, there's a twofold track, Senator. One, violent crime is exploding in this country, and we cannot afford them to allow it to run away. We must tackle violent crime. Just in 2023 alone, there was 100,000 rapes, 100,000 drug overdoses, and 17,000 homicides. The priority of the FBI, if I'm confirmed, will be to ensure that our communities are protected and safeguarded and our children have parks to play in and not needles to walk over. The way we do this, we let good cops be cops. We let law enforcement and we provide them with the tools necessary and resources they need to get after violent crime. The second way we do this on equal track is aggressive constitutional oversight from Congress. The public trust can only be restored if there is full transparency, and I am committed to that full transparency.
We love to see it. Finally, we had 4 years of a regime that just took full advantage of weaponizing every bureaucracy against half of the American people. I mean, we saw, Adam, I'm going to go to you first only because this you've been sort of directly impacted by the weaponization of government with all the whole January 6th debacle. And they had, just in 2022, it was a year after January 6th, and it was already the biggest investigation in FBI history. 700 people arrested, hundreds more offenders, they said, still at large. At large. I don't know. Were you one of those at large, or did they get to you rather quickly, Adam? Because you were very dangerous and you could have been at large on an unsuspecting American public who didn't know that you had carried a podium 20 feet and then set it down. They might not have known, and that could be very dangerous to them.
It can be. I have stopped taking chairs from tables at restaurants. I have learned my lesson. Even if someone needs one, I leave it alone. I ask permission. I've been completely healed and transformed through federal prison.
Good.
My first question is, who voted no for this guy? Because everything he's saying kind of sounds like what the FBI should have been doing all along.
Yeah.
I think that it's a stark difference between their job, the thing you were hired for.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of the key differences between what Trump is doing and what Biden has done. Mm-hmm. I'm excited that we're pointing the administration not towards the people who are just trying to work a 9-to-5 and feed their family, but towards the people who have been robbing them for the past 5 decades. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to see it. Bring it on.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to add one more quote here from Merrick Garland. At the time, he said, "The Justice Department remains committed to holding all January 6 perpetrators at any level accountable under law." Under law, isn't that cute? Whether they were present that day or they were otherwise criminally responsible for the assault on our democracy. And you think about the fact that they had, what they said, 26 confidential informants on the ground, most of whom engaged in illegal activity during the chaos. That makes me so angry. I mean, it's one of those things that we already knew all along. It's just you get confirmation, and it just makes me so angry to know what some of these people went through, you included, of course, but there are people who were so tortured by the legal battle that they killed themselves.
Yes, 4 suicides. 4.
I mean, it's just unconscionable what they did to these people, and it never had to be that way. And now you have, to Adam's point, you have an entire party. You have the entire party of the Democrats all voting no to return the FBI to the original intention, right? The intent is to just to do your job. Hey, maybe we don't label parents domestic terrorists. Hey, maybe we don't start investigating Catholics because they're Catholic. Hey, maybe we just target violent crime. That might be cool.
Or maybe don't find crimes and encourage people to do them.
Right.
That's in the Whitmer case as well.
Yeah.
You don't have to find crimes to create. There are crimes that already exist. Your job is to go after them first.
Right. Yeah. Well, right. Because in the event of wasn't the Whitmer case that they had more FBI informants than even criminals in that?
They paid meals for these people. They took them to training. They encouraged them to commit crimes. That was the FBI responsible for it. It's not the first time they've done this. It actually, I think it may have been more of the effect of what was directed towards them to do. Right. And that's who they've been for the past 4 years, and maybe even longer than that.
Yeah, just straight up entrapment at this point.
Well, the more and more you go through these appointments and you see people like Kash Patel, who is eminently qualified to do this job. I mean, the dude is super smart. He's been in the right positions. I don't think there's anyone better qualified to run that place and bring it back to what, as you said, what it is really meant to be. And that is not an arm of the government, right? Like, this is the funny thing. Conservatives sit around, Republicans sit around and go, I don't want my Justice Department to be weaponized against my part. I don't want that. But they do.
They do.
This is the thing. And look, every single one of these appointments that I know of has gone along party lines. It was always going to be like this. Unfortunately, the only people that are really going to waver are Republicans, right? Because they're rhinos. But it's hard to think that you had to go through something like you did. Steve Baker had to go through, many people had to go through all that hardship.
1,600.
That's insane.
It's staggering. But what we're getting now, because I'm sure it didn't feel like it when you were in the middle of it, but now the whiplash back is huge. And what I loved about what Kash Patel was saying was when he talks, he's got President Trump immediately behind him on every single thing that he says. That is incredible to see. And I think that what we're going to see is this pincer movement, this like all-engulfing movement where Elon's going out there. Like I said, we've said this before on the show. It was meticulously planned. Elon's going out there. He's exposing all this corruption. Well, he's exposing the corruption. Now, you can hear that like high-pitched squeak. That's all the politicians' sphincters tightening up because they know what's coming for them. They know.
But we've gone from...
I know. I was thinking, like, what's the...
That's what it is.
Sound effect there. Yep.
That's the sound effect.
We've gone from a government that's been driven by nepotism for the past few decades back to a meritocratic function, which is what has always should have been the best person for the job. And that is who all these appointments seem to be. And I couldn't be happier with them.
Yeah. What was it like when you got pardoned?
It was very surreal.
Yeah.
I was on the fence if it was going to happen, if it should happen, and how it should happen. And when it came through, it felt like I don't know. I had a couple years to rebuild and get my life back on track. A lot of people that day, they got it for the first time. They were released from prison. They were reunited with their families. And I hope they take the same path that I did to realize that they're more than one day. They're more than what the government told them they were, that they are fathers, they are mothers, they are brothers, they are more. And I hope they are restored. No one can give them that, though. They're going to have to step up and continue to be the people they were before. They were prosecuted, persecuted, and punished by the government.
Yeah. Do you keep up with any of them still? I mean, I know you talked to Steve Baker, but
my DMs are full of people.
Yeah.
Full. It's a big community, and there are lots of subgroups throughout the community because, again, there are so many of us.
Yeah.
But a lot of them they're some of the most positive people that I've met. They've gone through so much, and they're still just so, I don't know, passionate about their lives.
I wonder if, I mean, this is really easy for me to say as someone who didn't spend time in prison for this, right? But I wonder if there is somewhat, and you tell me, is there somewhat of a reflection of what happened to me was unjust, but it was part of the process that America had to go through in order to course correct and get us back on track? And not that like you're happy to have done it, but you recognize that like you served as part of that process?
I think people have made much larger sacrifices than a lot of us did, but I do believe we did make a sacrifice.
Yeah.
I think that
not that you had a choice, but
yeah.
It's like you didn't have a choice in it. But like looking back, does it feel somewhat even more significant to like I played a role in bringing the country back on track? Because I think without all of that injustice, I just don't know. I mean, every single thing that happened had to happen in order to convince all of those people who didn't like the things that Trump was tweeting. Mm-hmm. We've got to have this guy back because we don't want that again. Trump
may have been stuck on the election if January 6th didn't happen for 4 years, and they would have just mocked and kept him in that place. January 6th happened instead. Yeah. And the rhetoric then became insurrection. This man tried to overthrow his country. And for 4 years, I think normal people saw the government go after normal people, like nonviolent misdemeanor trespassing charges, hunting them down, kicking the doors down, putting guns in the faces of their wives and their children over nonviolent charges. And I think it woke a lot of people up. I think a lot of libertarians, I think a lot of people who just like watching sports on the weekends came out and voted.
Yeah, exactly right.
And I just want to say this, like I know 3 people, you being one of them, that was involved in January the 6th and got unfairly prosecuted. Every one of them are just stellar people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, there's not one person I can go, Baker's amazing. I've got another friend of mine who's absolutely an American hero, actually, that got fired on that day for being there. And I think you're right. And that's what I was alluding to. Like, in a way, that horrible episode had to happen the way it did. It's in the same way like COVID had to happen the way it did. Otherwise, it would have got worse eventually. And it's easy for us to say on the outside, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I recognize that. Like, I don't want it to sound like I'm being trivial about, you know, who spent the most amount of time? Whoever it was that spent the most amount of time in prison. It's like, oh, well, don't worry because it was all for a good cause. You know, I mean, I don't mean it like that. But
when I say the temperament, you ask me about the groups of people I talk to, their temperament is we were happy to sacrifice because of where we are now.
do you think that are there any like the potential lawsuit being discussed? Because I know some of these people went through such terrible, inhumane conditions at these prisons. They weren't afforded due process. And I'd love for that to happen.
I know the Department of Justice just settled one of the Portland rioters got shot in the forehead with a less than lethal munition. He got, I think it was $7 million.
You're
From the
kidding
Department
me.
of Justice. Not kidding. And this person was attacking police officers. So, you know, can the Department of Justice make amends? They absolutely can.
Yeah.
As far as a class action lawsuit goes, it's very difficult to define a class within January 6 defendants because we all had different experiences that day and we all came after differently. So a judge has to rule what a class looks like and then you can move forward with the lawsuit.
Interesting. Okay.
So it would more than likely be on a case by case scenario if you wanted to see any type of recompense for it.
Will you let all of them know Sara Gonzales, with absolutely no legal expertise, highly suggests that they file as many lawsuits as possible because you gotta believe that would be an open and shut case for a lot of these people, and they deserve every last penny that would be coming to them. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break, and then we will be back with more. I want to remind you guys, though, before we do that, make sure to, if you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button. You can tap it too. We like a gentle tapping from time to time, as we say here at Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. And make sure that you're subscribed because YouTube, they do some funny business. It's my first day back in 2 days.
I can tell. We like a gentle tapping now and then. So
I like a gentle tapping from time to time. It's just what they
looking
prefer.
at me going,
They might like it. They might like to press it really hard.
I think it's your turn to speak. Yeah.
I'm not saying anything.
And then I'm just letting them know. Everyone has their preferences, and I'm just letting you know I don't judge you for your preference as long as the like button is hit. You can hit that like button as many times as you want, as long as the last time that you hit it, it stays thumbs up.
Want to put a ring on it and subscribe? That's also
Yes, please do that. Do that as well. All right. And then also go to saramerch.com. We've got all sorts of fun stuff there. We've got support your local ice raids. There it is. Support your local ice raids, please. And also I Don't Really Care, Margaret, along with MAGA is for Lovers and Maha Moms Club. I know we did MAGA is for Lovers for Valentine's Day. There it is. I Don't Really Care, Margaret. I love that one. But you can, MAGA is still for lovers. MAGA is for lovers for the next 4 years. So make sure that you do. The people that we were just talking to you about, they're haters, but we're lovers. So make sure that you pick that up along with Maha Moms Club over at saramerch.com. All right, back to our sponsor, Relief Factor. So look, Relief Factor has worked for me. It's worked for this guy over here because he's got all sorts of problems. I mean, he himself is a pain in the ass.
But taking it for the pain in the ass that you have, which is me.
Yeah.
And that hasn't worked for that yet. I'm still here.
It doesn't work for that. So if you also have a pain in your ass in your life, it's not going to work. But if you have pain in your body, it will work for that because what Relief Factor is, it's 100% drug free, but it's a very, very potent anti-inflammation pill. So it's all natural. And what people don't realize is that typically when you have pain in your body, it's the inflammation in your body that's causing that pain. And so if you can get rid of the inflammation, you're not just going to mask the issues, you're just going to completely eliminate it. So try their 3-week quick start. It's $19.95 and they've got a guarantee. So you've got nothing to lose except your pain. It's really that simple. And 70% of the people who buy that go on to keep ordering more. That's how many people it's working for. And here at Blaze, I think it's like 100% of people who have tried it, it's worked for. So listen, if you're in pain, this can be life-changing. Go to relieffactor.com. Get that 3-week quick start over at relieffactor.com. Guys, I have some sad news. Are you ready? I don't have any tissues. I'm sorry. I should have brought some Kleenex on the table. Mitch McConnell announced that he will not be running for re-election in 2020.
No!
That wasn't. You're an actor, and that was not believable at all.
Really? I can't fake that one. I mean, how old is he? 400? Is he one of the guys that's collecting Social Security because he's 349 years old?
It's close. He's 83.
He's like a turtle. He does look like a turtle.
We're going to have a lack of representation for turtles now. And I'm really worried about that. We need to get on top of it again.
Well, Donald Trump said he was eliminating DEI from all government agencies, so there will be no more turtle inclusion in the Senate now. So he was 7 times elected, longest serving Senate party leader in United States history. And apparently today was his birthday, and he decided, to celebrate his birthday, he would announce to the world that he would not be running for re-election, which honestly was more of a present for us.
Yes. Did he announce this himself, or is this one of his staffers on Twitter? Does he know he's retiring?
Oh, that's a good question, because maybe it was like the Joe Biden coup, where it wasn't him that endorsed Kamala. It was like a random 20-year-old staffer who was in charge of his Twitter account, his X account. Oh, I like that theory.
Ooh. I'm curious.
I'm curious too now.
I've heard that staffers are actually who run DC.
Wow. Okay, we should look into this.
Who's in the running for that Senate seat?
Oh, I heard Massey might be running. Is what I read last. Massey was considering a run for it.
Rather great, wouldn't it?
I'm a big fan of Massey.
So I just saw that someone else was putting his hat in the ring, and I can't remember who it is, so I'm going to try to look it up right now. Yeah, it's the AG. It's the AG, the Kentucky AG. What is his name? Daniel something. Daniel Cameron? Ha! Okay. Daniel Cameron said that he is going to run for Senate. And so, I don't know, because if Thomas Massey does too, that's going to be, I mean, listen, that's a good problem to have. Right? If you've got a bunch of really good competition in there, that's great for Kentucky. But I want to let's play some of Mitch McConnell's just
greatest hits. Him falling on the floor as a hit, or?
Yeah. Let's play Glitch McConnell, his greatest hits. Whoa. That was back in 2014, guys. Over 10 years ago.
He was a sprightly 74. Come on.
Running for re-election in 2026.
That's right.
Hello? Did you hear the question, Senator?
He's rebooting.
He
You're
is.
going to hear like the Mac sound in a minute.
She's putting a new batteries behind him.
She's put her arm up. She's like, come on, work.
This is what we call the blue screen of death.
Yeah. You know what the sad thing is about this is this man, that's going to be his legacy, is people not liking him. There was a fake, you know what a dentist account is? There was a dentist account that came out and said that Mitch McConnell had died a couple of days ago, and everyone believed it.
Oh, I did see that. I did see
The
that.
saddest thing is they wanted to believe it was true, and they said it wasn't. That's this man's legacy. That's sad.
String of
There it is again.
Look at that lectern.
I'm salivating over the lectern.
Wood.
You're like, I totally would move that. I would move that thing like it's never been moved before.
Grab that thing.
I would tap that thing.
Very lightly. I'm gentle.
Are you good?
Because he knows people appreciate a gentle tapping.
This is actually really sad.
It is sad. It is. Honestly, I mean, I try to make light of it because if you don't, you'll just want to jump off a bridge.
The bloody country.
Exactly.
This is absurd.
Exactly. They're still like.
How are you feeling, Leader McConnell?
I mean,
Again, are we sure he voted for Kash?
Yeah.
How are you feeling, Leader McConnell?
This is just, it's so disgraceful that these people they think that their job is to just die in Congress.
Yeah.
It is so disgraceful. I mean, I understand that some of them get to a point where they don't even know where they are anymore, which is clearly the case with him, at least part of the time. But I mean, they go into that at a certain point knowing that they're getting older and still just not wanting to give up the power. And it's just so selfish.
Well, we've made politics about voting party line instead of voting the way your constituents said you should vote.
Yeah.
And that's how you get into office. So they're no longer voting for the people who send them there. They're just voting party line.
Right.
Omnibuses get passed and the American people get screwed.
Yeah.
I mean, how can he be in touch with what the American people want?
Exactly right. Exactly
I mean,
right.
You just can't be. And also, there does come a point where, you know, we're all parents at this table. Don't you want to go and play with your grandkids?
I know.
Like, I mean, like you said, it's not just that it's selfish, as in like personally, it's selfish for the family as well. Because imagine what his grandkids are. They're not going to say, "Oh, I've been able to."
His
go.
grandkids are probably like 50.
Yes, that's
Oh, that's.
So I don't know how much playing he's going to do with them, but maybe his great grandkids.
Yeah. That's funny.
But I mean, so you bring up a great point. And that's what I was thinking about too. We've got this chart that shows how old Congress is and the most represented age groups. And so the blue is the House and the red is the Senate. And so you go down to the 50 to 59, House 26% is in that age range, Senate 21%, 60 to 69, House 24%, Senate 33%. 70 to 79, House 17%, Senate 28%. And so you look and it's like, I don't want these people making laws for us.
yep.
That doesn't make any sense. Why are we still subscribing to this program? That's dumb. And so I wanted to run through too some of the oldest representatives and senators here. We've got Chuck Grassley. I'm going to start from the oldest and go down. Chuck Grassley is 91 years old. That is outrageous.
A little crypt keeper in Congress.
Outrageous. He is 91. Okay. Bernie Sanders, 83. How do you even say his name? I don't even know. Jim Risch, 81. He's from Idaho. Angus King, 80. Richard Blumenthal, 81. Ed Markey, 79.
I've got a question for you.
That's nuts.
Here's a question for you. Let's see if Stephen.
Hold on. That's just what the top 7, and I'm only at 70. Like,
Yeah, no, it's
I'm only
crazy.
at 79.
Let me ask you a question. Out of the founding fathers, who was always seen as the old guy? Benjamin Franklin, right?
Mm-hmm.
How old was Benjamin Franklin when the country was founded?
I don't know.
No, I don't know.
Oh,
But I'm asking you to go and ask because most people think, oh, you know, these guys were old. Like, and how old was Alexander Hamilton?
Yep.
You'd be shocked.
You can
when find
adjust. You can adjust for life expectancy as well.
Yeah.
My concern is I also don't want people who are super young because then you get people like Crockett, AOC, and Ilhan Omar, right? So there is kind of this double-edged sword. My thought is, I want someone who's old enough to have lived enough life to have a good opinion of it, but not so old that they've lived too long to have an opinion of it.
Yeah. How old is it? Have you got it?
I'm looking.
Come on,
Talking.
Stephen.
Keep talking.
Voice from the gods.
Keep talking.
They were super young is the answer to it. And I think, like, if you look back, this was the controversy about people talking about Elon's Doge guys coming in at 19.
I don't think he was that young.
I've seen busts of him only with white hair.
John Adams was 40.
Yeah,
So
John
this
Adams was 40.
this is Snopes, okay? Snopes.
Don't trust Snopes.
Okay, then I won't say. I'll keep
Yeah,
looking.
don't you have people to do this for you, Sarah? Don't you have an army of researchers in the back? I've seen the elves when I came in making your merch. Send some of the elves out to get the fact. All right, how old was Alexander Hamilton?
Yeah. Ben Franklin was actually 70.
So, He's still 20 years old,
I know.
20 years younger
I
than
know.
them.
And Chuck Grassley. I know.
20
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
He lived a hard life too. That man is.
I can't believe
is an
he
OG.
lived that. I can't believe he was that old because that's old for 1776.
But what I'm saying
was
is,
the
you
beer.
think of him as like this really, really old guy. He'd be a whippersnapper with these guys.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. I'm looking to see if there's any other
The
notable
Doge
ones.
kids who are super young. I mean, they're not. Their job is not to run.
Thomas
Congress,
Jefferson was
right?
33.
So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you don't think
Father
of
of
them as
17.
being that young.
3 of them with his wife.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What?
Nothing.
Sorry, I'm
Research.
Play.
yes. So one more note on this because I'm like I have to find this answer right now. The average age of the 119th Congress is 58. That's too old.
Way too old.
That is too old. So it's just like, again, you guys pointed it out. We can't. The laws affect everyone, sure. But if you're halfway in the grave, you really don't have any business creating laws that are going to affect my kids for the next 80 years.
Especially when it comes to war.
Right.
Right, because there's no way they're going to war. There's no way their kids are going, as you just said, right? So you got a 90-year-old dude. His kids are going to be 70. They're not going to war. His grandkids are going to be 50. They're not going to war. I mean, it's insane. And you hear them talk like that. And by the way, I'd love to know how much they're worth.
Yeah, maybe not just age limits, but also once your net worth has increased by a certain percentage, it's time to leave.
I love that. I mean, they would never do it. Just like they won't do term limits. No. We need to have that on like some sort of a, can the American people vote on that one? Yep. Let's just bypass. We don't need Congress on this one. Just put it on our ballots and then it can just become law. We'll just do it that way. Because that's a conflict of interest for them to vote.
The unfortunate, ugly truth, though, is you need to spend 10 to 15 years in Congress just to get a single bill that you were actually passionate about to be voted on and then passed. And it's very unfortunate. I think if we had term limits, we would probably see a lot more things either rushed or delayed, which I'm in favor of both, depending on what we're talking about.
I think things are changing now. I do think that in the old system, I think that's true. But I think now what we're seeing is with Doge coming in, they're clearing out a lot of the deep state. Who knows what changes they're going to implement that will make this system, which, part of the reason why it's so slow is they don't know how to write a one-page bill, right? They don't know. It's like, oh, we have to have a 3,500-page bill and we've got to vote on it tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say part of that is by design.
Of course it is.
They don't want anyone to be able to read it. But I was just at the Capitol yesterday. At the Texas Capitol yesterday in Austin, and I'm sure that what I saw is totally compounded in Washington, because what I saw was I visited the Senate and the House, and it was just passing resolutions honoring the people that were there in the gallery, and the people stand up and everyone claps and then they move on to the next resolution. They started at 10. They gavelled out probably close to noon, and then they were not set to re-adjourn until the following morning at 10. And I was just like, this is what my taxes are paying for this? Like it was total BS. Nothing happened. And meanwhile, I'm like, the lieutenant governor has a priority list that's what I think like 20 priorities. The governor has all these priorities that he wants them to pass. And they're honoring like Joe Blow upstairs for, I don't even know.
Joe Blow. I hate that guy.
I'm not going to do that.
Not even
I don't-
what's up.
No.
No.
I'm married.
Oh.
And I don't know Joe Blow.
Yeah, me neither. But screw that guy anyway.
But he's got a nice plaque now, so he's definitely got some
Yeah.
ability.
Yeah. The Texas State Capitol did recognize him, so he is a hot shot. I better watch out. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break, and we will be back with more. Have I mentioned that I would love it if you would gently tap the like button? I want to thank our sponsor, Birch Gold, this segment, and I have personally done business with Birch Gold, so I realize that President Trump is back, and we're all very excited about it, and we expect that all of the money that Joe Biden blew and got us into this inflationary time, we expect that it will start to settle down I don't know when, because those things take time. But the point is, historically, gold has been the best hedge against not only inflation, but any sort of instability. And it's just a really good thing to diversify with. So if you do not have any gold in your portfolio, Birch Gold can help you out with that. They actually can take an existing IRA or 401k that you already have and turn it into an IRA in gold or silver, and it's not going to cost you a penny out of pocket. So go text the word Sarah. That's my name, in case you were wondering. Sarah. Sara. There's no H. It's just an unnecessary letter. You don't say Sarah. Okay? Text my name, Sarah, to 989898. They're going to send you an information kit. It's free. There's no reason not to do it. That's the word Sarah to 989898. I hate to be the bearer of bad news once again, but I'm going to be, guys. I'm going to be. In fact, I'm going to ask, do we have any Kleenex? Do we have any tissues? Are there might be some behind there. Can you tell me? Yes.
There you go.
You can toss them and I might catch. Perfect.
Got it. Teamwork. I watched.
The IRS is going to begin laying off roughly 6,000 employees today. And I will tell you that Democrats are warning that losing such a large number of employees could disrupt the ability of Americans to easily file their taxes this year.
I am personally affected by this. I had just completed building my own killdozer, and now I have nothing to do with it. The IRS building, I guess, can stay.
It's a good start. It's a good start. Didn't they just hire 80,000 people?
Armed.
What are we waiting for?
Armed, weren't they?
Tell me you saw the ad where the guy was in the wheelchair, where they were talking about arming IRS agents, and one of them was...
Well, that was because we are diverse, okay? They needed to make sure to show full representation for any American so that when people who live in wheelchairs watch that commercial, they didn't feel sad that they were not included.
Does that mean I can claim the ramp I have to build on my taxes deductible? Is that...
Yes.
So that way they can
to
come
get
in and
in.
shoot me? Exactly. That's a deduction now, right?
They're like, I'm going to go after him with my taxes. Darn it, thwarted by a 6-inch step. Aha!
So I love that Democrats, I want them to keep this up. Keep it up. Keep complaining and crying every time President Trump keeps his promise, which was to root out all of this, bureaucracy, all of the redundancy, all of the waste and fraud and corruption and the overpayment of taxes that's going to bullshit. Please keep crying about it. Please, because President Trump is going, oh, Joe Biden said, I think there was an 80,000, but then just recently there was another 20,000 that he was going to hire because the 80,000 weren't enough. And then they were going to have, they were going to invest all this new technology so that they could, I guess, penalize you more for not paying 40% of your income in taxes, and an $80 billion investment plan to improve tax enforcement and customer service. Yeah, I'm sure a government entity improving customer service. That's literally never happened.
From the party that said, we want to make sure these billionaires are paying their fair share,
Right.
I found it to be an interesting move when they said anyone making $600. Because that to me is not a lot of money. I mean, it's a couple of nice dinners, but that's the fair share of people you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You're a billionaire in Turkey if you have that, like $600.
Well, I'm moving. That settles it.
Yeah.
Ethiopia. I hear $600 goes a really long way. But I mean, it's just beautiful to see, especially from the IRS. I mean, it's like, how about instead of spending the $80 billion and hiring new, 20,000 agents, whatever that calculates out to, we can just shut down the whole building and stop paying you taxes because you're stealing from me. That's theft. You're stealing from me.
No, I mean, but the argument is taxation is theft. And they've really proven it, haven't they?
Yes.
I mean, because some people come along and they'd argue, well, you've got to look after these like essential things like, the military and whatever. But when it's going to drag queen shows in like Ecuador and like Sesame Street in Iraq, it really is stealing from us. They're breaking us. And I think that we are ramping up towards the abolishment of the IRS.
I'm okay with it.
Don't
I'm
threaten me with a
I
good
do.
time.
I think
Don't
it's
you
happening.
threaten me with a good. Is it hot in here or is it just me?
Well, they use this argument, right, where it's, well, who's going to build the roads? First of all, have you been on the roads? Second of all, when North Carolina, South Carolina, and these states have these massive hurricane come through, and they're telling them, here's $700, good luck with your life. When Hawaii has massive fires, and they give them $700 and all their properties taken. When California has fires, they lose everything, and they tell them, good luck. And you're telling me that I have to be worried about paying taxes? If we can't take care of the Americans who have paid into the system their entire lives when they need it the most, I think we should stop paying into the system.
Yeah, but Adam, have you considered that FEMA needed that money to give to illegal aliens so that they could have a place to stay since they're here illegally? Did you consider that?
I considered arresting people for aiding and abetting these illegal criminals, giving them jobs and houses. I considered that because that is a crime. These people are here as criminals, and you are giving them money to stay here. You're giving them housing to stay here. That is a crime. I think you arrest a handful of American citizens that are doing this, some prominent ones, maybe the CEO of Walmart who hires these people, and maybe things start turning around. Maybe people don't just self-deport. Maybe people start saying these people shouldn't be here. It's time to go home.
Yeah.
By the way, this is what.
How about AOC? Can we put her on the list first?
Oh yeah. But here's the thing.
Alex Stein would be very sad.
Europe, no, he would go and get like conjugal rights to go see her. I mean, he'll be okay. He'll be able to go and see his big booty Latina. But what is happening?
Hold on. They'd call her, you have a visitor. And she'd come to the she's like, him again.
That is actually
Fourth
still a
time
thing. I
today.
think it's in New York and California and one more state. I want to say it's in Northeastern New Hampshire, Vermont. It's
Really?
actually still a thing in 3 states.
That is so funny.
But what is happening right now? You know, you're seeing, just talking about what is going on here and what we're seeing that Trump is doing. This is terrifying Europe, right? It's terrifying them because everyone's looking in Europe and going, hang on a minute. I don't have to deal with this. Like, Trump's getting rid of them. Why am I dealing with all these fighting age males at hotels at the end of my street so my kids can't walk down the street? And Trump's just getting rid of them. We have to remember the knock-on effect and the ripple effect around the world of what he is doing here.
Yes.
It is amazing. Like, really, America is becoming the preeminent force for freedom again.
Yes.
It really, really is. And it's terrifying. That's why they're reacting so badly, because they're seeing this. I mean, and if he gets rid of the IRS, that's like a nuclear bomb going on over in Europe, because they're going to be like,
He's floated it. I mean, he's floated getting rid of the income tax.
Not the nuclear bomb.
Yeah, no, not that one.
It
Sorry.
was Tuesday. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks for allowing me to make that clarification. That was the one that he floated, eliminating the income tax.
I've seen, so Germany doubled down. There was interviews saying that free speech and sharing memes and things, that's an arrestable offense. I think it was in Switzerland, there was a man who got, who was in a group chat, and AI decided that what he was saying was 100% offensive and racist, and now he's facing charges.
Jeez.
They are doubling down over there because they know that, again, the ripple effect, what Trump is doing here, these people want it. They miss it. They were told stories 40 years ago, this is how we used to live. They want it back.
Yeah, which just goes to show you, again, I know we got to go to break, but it just goes to show you how important, like I always knew, but I never saw firsthand how important America's stability and strong leadership is to the entire world. Like, it's been incredible to watch. All right, we got to take a break, but I do want to thank this segment's sponsor, My Patriot Supply. So, you need to be prepared in case of an emergency. Adam just mentioned what happened in North Carolina, all the hurricanes, and then, of course, California had the wildfires. Point is, you never know when disaster is going to strike, so that is that's why being prepared means you get it before you need it. So when you need it, it's there. Okay, that's what My Patriot Supply is for. They've got a 3-month emergency food kit that has breakfast, lunch, dinner, gives you 2,000 calories a day, all the vitamins and nutrients that you need. And it's also really good. They've got beef, fruits, chicken, veggies. I know you're like, what? But it stays good for like 25 years. Yes, but just trust me, it tastes good. And also, it really won't matter Because if you're in an emergency, you just need nutrition, okay? So go get, I don't know why I'm angry. I'm angry because you haven't gotten it yet. So go get it. They've got a special discount right now, preparewithsarah.com. You can get a $100 discount, and if you order by 3 p.m., they'll ship your order within the same day. So you're going to have peace of mind real quick. Preparewithsarah.com. Well, RFK is head of HHS, and one of his first acts was to make sure to define on the HHS website what a woman is. And so now there are only 2 types of sexes, female and male, because there are only 2 types of, how do you even say that? Gametes? Gametes. I knew that. Female is a person of the sex characterized by a reproductive system with the biological function of producing eggs. And so it's very clear. It's very sad that it came to this, that like now that RFK is in charge, he's like, hey, you know what? We should probably define what a real woman is. So simple, but yet means so much.
They're finally catching up to Kindergarten Cop. Boys have a penis and girls have a vagina. This is something I've known since I was a child. It was a very easy thing to see.
Yeah, maybe he had a kindergartner explain it. Oh, no, wait. He's just a functioning adult who is not. So he understands what the difference is.
It is strange, isn't it, that we have these wins? Like, it's so awesome. They said a man is a man and a woman is like how far we went.
I know.
It's crazy.
I know.
Someone alerted Ketanji Brown, Supreme Court Justice, because now we have a clear definition. It might be time to ask her again, what is a woman?
Well, she probably would say RFK is not a biologist. So why should I take his definition? Is he a biologist? No. Oh, get me a biologist on the phone then. I just feel like that would probably be where she goes with that.
More than likely.
But, you know, the House Oversight Committee said that there was $241 million in taxpayer funds spent on transgender research using animals. So now we can save that money.
The Dr. Moreau project, I remember it well.
We don't need to use animals to research transgenderism. We just know what it is.
I just want to know if the mice field had lipstick on. Do they feel confident?
You know what? Listen, here's the thing. We laugh about it, but we've said on the show, and as a functioning adult, for the longest time, we're like, where is this coming from? Nobody believes this. Like, this is a completely astroturf movement. And so, but there's, how much money was that?
$241 million.
That's that. That's not USAID funding all the stuff in different countries. That's not, I'm sure when they get into the DOD, there's going to be a ton of that as well.
Right.
Like, it's going to be upwards, like it's going to be getting up to $1 billion on this ridiculousness, which again, guess what? Nobody around this table would have funded.
Right. I mean, the majority of the American population would have funded that. And by the way, it's really stupid to use animals and think that like, oh, well, if this is true in animals, other animals, whatever, species, it must be true in humans, as if we aren't the most advanced. And that's why animals are not running things and it's humans instead. I mean, it's like, oh, a wild animal does something sexual with, the same sex. Oh, that must be the same for us. You guys have lost the plot. All right. I love having you guys on. I'm so glad you're here. I am a little bit happy that it's time to go because I can't feel my fingers. So it's been fun, guys. Thank you for being here. We'll see y'all tomorrow.